Malvern, Pennsylvania was ranked as the 205th best suburb across America out of over 6,700 different suburbs. But today, let's go over some of the best and not so great things about living in Malvern, Pennsylvania. You will be shocked by the last con that we go over. Hey there, I'm Corey Benhart, your Philadelphia metro area realtor. I specialize in helping people move to the great state of Pennsylvania and more specifically, the suburbs around Philadelphia. All of my contact information is below. I would love to hear from you. And the first pro that we have to talk about is the location of Malvern. Depending on the time of day and the traffic, the commute from Malvern to Philadelphia is right around 40 minutes by car. Malvern is only about 2 hours from so many different great places, such as our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the beach in New Jersey, also known as the Jersey Shore, New York City, and the Pocono Mountains. And if you need to commute to New York City or just want to visit occasionally, you can catch a train in the neighboring town of Paoli and go right into New York City. Later on in the video, we'll talk more about exactly what Malvern has to offer, but for now, Malvern is very close to King of Prussia and also the King of Prussia Mall, which is only about a 20-minute drive and has just about everything that you need inside of that mall. It's the third largest in the entire country, so there's plenty of shops, restaurants, and literally every single store you can think of is only about 20-minute drive right from Malvern. And the next pro that we have to talk about is all of the different community events and just overall the community feel that you have in Malvern. Malvern has tons of different annual events such as the Malvern Blooms Festival, the very popular weekly farmers markets, the Firehouse Carnival, and plenty of annual holiday events. And the next pro that we have to talk about is the walkability. Malvern Borough has an overall walkability score of 71, so it is very easily accessible to plenty of local restaurants, dining, and bars. Although I wouldn't consider Malvern to have a huge variety of different shopping and dining options, Malvern is only 20 minutes from King of Prussia Mall, so there are probably close to over 100 restaurants only about 20 minutes away. We'll talk about the nightlife in Malvern just a little bit later on in the video, but if you end up moving or just visiting Malvern, I would highly suggest stopping at the Brick and Brew restaurant in Malvern. It is personally one of my favorites and just a good example of one of the locally owned restaurants right in Malvern. And the next pro that we're going to talk about is the booming real estate market in Malvern. The real estate market in Malvern has gone up 11.3% just within the last year. There are plenty of new construction neighborhoods all throughout Malvern, everything from townhomes up to large single-family homes. Malvern is turning more and more into an urban feel while still being able to enjoy the perks of living in the suburbs and not too far from Philadelphia. And the next pro is school district. The school district that services Malvern is Great Valley School District, which is rated as the 15th best school district in all of Pennsylvania and the third in all of Chester County. Out of over 10,000 school districts, Great Valley was ranked as the 207th best overall district in all of America. And before we go on to our last pro, the Great Valley School District has a teacher to student ratio of 14:1, which is really good compared to the US average of 17:1. If school district is very important for you when it comes to choosing where in Pennsylvania you're going to end up living, Malvern might be a great option for you. The next pro that we're going to talk about are the things to do in Malvern. So although Malvern Borough does have some pretty great shopping and restaurant options, there really aren't that many, so you could end up getting pretty bored pretty quickly. There's unfortunately just not that much of a selection, but with so much to do in the towns around Malvern, you'll just have to drive a short distance to plenty of parks, shopping, dining, etc. And truthfully, since you're really not that far from so many great places such as Center City, Philadelphia, New York City, Washington, D.C., and the beach in New Jersey, I don't really know if it matters that much about the minimum selection in Malvern because you're not that far from so many different things to do in each of those locations. All right, so now we're done with the pros. Now we're going to go over the cons of living in Malvern, and starting out with the first con, which is the real estate costs. According to niche.com, the average price of a home in Malvern is $386,400, but unfortunately that median price doesn't really get you much. Malvern has so many different housing options, everything from a studio or one-bedroom condo to a typical single-family home, all the way up to a mega estate and just about everything in between. Looking back over the last last year, the lowest sale in Malvern was $175,000 and the highest was $5.6 million. So there is a tremendous range of pricing and different home styles in Malvern. So no matter what price point and what type of home you would prefer, there is definitely multiple options for you in Malvern. So the next con that we're going to talk about might actually be a pro for some people, but also a con for others as well. And that is that Malvern has very minimal nightlife. So if nightlife is a huge, very important thing for you, Malvern might not be the best place for you, although you are pretty close to so many other great towns that surround Malvern. And also you're really not that far from Center City, Philadelphia, which has really all the nightlife that you can really even imagine. Malvern, although it does not have all the nightlife that the other towns does, again, that could be a pro or a con depending on your personal preferences. The next con that we're going to talk about is the limited job opportunities. So let me expand on this, because if you want to work for a Fortune 500 or 100 company that has multiple locations all throughout the country and all throughout the world, Malvern might not be the best place for you. There are unfortunately very limited options besides the one that comes to mind, which is Vanguard. And Vanguard has a huge 300,000 square foot office right in the center of Malvern. But besides them, they're really mostly just locally owned companies. But also, if you're planning on moving to this area, either for a job relocation, then it doesn't really matter. Or if you're fully remote, work from home, then location and different job opportunities don't really matter to you either. If you're thinking about moving to Malvern or anywhere within the Philadelphia metro area, I would love to help you find your perfect Pennsylvania home. All of my contact information is below. And until then, I will see you on this next video.